Welcome to our video series for applying for a Park and Recreation Trust Fund grant. We've created a series of videos, there are 5 videos, to help you as you prepare your application. This is the first video, which is an overview of PARTF and the grant cycle. The second video are items that are required for all applications, with video 3 focused on development projects, so if you're requesting funds for construction and or renovation of a park site. Video 4 is just for acquisition projects, so if you're requesting funds to acquire land, whether it's donated or purchased, you are acquiring property, and that's video 4. And then the final video provides an overview of the scoring system and primarily focuses on documents and definitions as you prepare your application. So again, there's 5 different videos. If you're doing development only, you can watch videos 2, 3, and 5. If you're doing acquisition only, you can watch videos 2, 4, and 5. And then if you're doing acquisition and development, you should watch all of the videos. And all applicants should definitely watch video 2 and video 5. So what do you need to know to complete a competitive application for PARTF? So the Parks and Recreation Trust Fund, if you go to this website that's shown on the slide, you can go to the North Carolina Division of Parks and Recreation, State Parks, Grants and Outreach Program webpage. Click on the section for PARTF and then click on Information for Applicants. And that will show you the application guide and other information, one of which is to create an account in Web Grants. That's the grant management system that you will use to submit a grant. We'll show you a little more on that in a moment. There's an application guide, and I suggest that you download and use it as a review as you watch these videos. And then finally, the Recreation Resources Service website, that's where you can find who your regional consultant is. RRS is your first point of contact as you prepare your application. And really, if you have any questions, just feel free to ask, discuss, and they'll be happy to help you work through the application. So the grant cycle for applicants is late October, early November is the start of the grant cycle when the application is released. Then that gives you October through April to prepare, review, make updates, and then May 1st is the application deadline, and everything must be submitted through Web Grants at that time. The PARTF program, we're looking at early summer after you submit the applications. RRS and the Division of Parks and Recreation Grants and Outreach, we will be evaluating and reviewing all the applications through the scoring system, and we'll prepare information, a summary for the Park and Recreation Authority. And they do award selection, and that's usually in August each year. And then late fall is when contracts are signed. So keep in mind, it's a full year from your application as you start to prepare your application to when, if you are awarded, that you would get a contract and could actually begin work. So think about that, and we'll talk about it a little more as we talk about preparing your budget. Eligible applicants are counties and incorporated municipalities in North Carolina. There can be joint applications, so if you think you might want to a city and a county or 2 cities want to apply together, reach out to your RRS consultant to discuss how that should be done. Eligible projects are land acquisition and or development, but it must be on a single site. You can't apply for to purchase several properties all around town, or say you want to apply to put playgrounds on multiple different parks. Those would be individual projects. It needs to be just one single site. The maximum that you may request is $500,000. You can request less than that for sure. It's a dollar for dollar match. So if you prepare a project budget that's $500,000 to complete what you're proposing, then your grant request would be $250,000, with the applicant providing the other $250,000. If you have land, if you're doing an acquisition project, so you're acquiring land, and the owner of that land is donating it or selling it at less than appraised value, you can use that value as part of your local match. So if you think you have that, please reach out as soon as possible. If you already have a title to the land or it's taken place, it would not be eligible. The value of in-kind services, such as labor or volunteer work, cannot be used as part of the match. That's asked of us quite often, but that is not something that's eligible for this grant program. And then public use. So keep in mind, property that is purchased with PARTF funding must be dedicated in perpetuity for public recreational use. There's a deed restriction that would be placed on the project, on the location. Facilities that are built or renovated with a PARTF grant must be used for public recreational use for 25 years. And it is up to the grantee to maintain that project and those facilities over 25 years. So the application evaluation, like I mentioned a moment ago, the PARTF staff has scoring teams between RRS and the Grants and Outreach Program. We do the scoring system based on the application documentation, pre-award site inspection, and a consensus of the scoring teams as we make reviews of these. Then grant selection is up to the Parks and Recreation Authority, and they have to consider, by administrative rules for the program, they consider factors on basically your project description and justification that you submit, the criteria contained in the scoring system, geographic distribution of projects, so awarded across the state, population of the applicant, compliance with prior grant agreements, so what is your grant history? Did you complete things on time and hopefully within budget? Presence or absence of other funding sources. They can take that in consideration as well. And probably most importantly, the amount of funds requested, but the amount of funds that are available to distribute during the application cycle. So they consider all of these factors, not just the scoring system, but they can take into account these other features as well. And when I mentioned geographic distribution, the Park and Recreation Authority uses the North Carolina Prosperity Zones to evaluate geographic distribution. Then we want you to keep in mind that if awarded, there are requirements. So you can download the grant manual and see it on the PARTF website. They'll be signing the contract before you can begin work, starting the project, maintaining the financial reimbursements that you will submit through RRS, audits and inspections that are routinely conducted by your RRS regional consultant, and then finally completing the project and having a ribbon cutting. So these are the regions that RRS uses. So again, go to our website that's listed there on the slide and contact your regional consultant, and they'll be happy to help you. Thank you. This concludes our video 1 for the PARTF Overview and Grant Cycle.